You know that feeling when a conversation starts going sideways, and your chest gets tight, and your mind goes completely blank, and you just don't know what to say next? That moment when someone says something that hits you wrong and suddenly everything inside you wants to either explode or completely shut down? Yeah, that feeling. I know it, and I want to talk to you about it today, because what happens in that exact moment has been quietly shaping your relationships, your career, your mental health, and honestly your entire quality of life for years now. People never figure this out. They spend decades watching the same arguments repeat themselves like a broken record. The same fight with the same person about the same thing. And every single time it ends the same way. Someone storms off. Someone goes cold. Someone says something they can't take back. And then there's that awful silence afterward where you're both just sitting with the damage, wondering how it got so bad so fast. Here is something that the most emotionally intelligent, most successful, most connected people in the world figured out early. Conflict is not the problem. How you handle conflict is everything. And that one shift in understanding changes everything about how you move through the world. We have some incredible programs linked down below in the video description right now that goes so much deeper into everything I'm about to share with you. If you are someone who already knows that communication and emotional skills are important but keeps putting off doing something about it, I want you to really sit with the cost of that delay. Every week that passes where you don't have these skills is another week of unnecessary tension, missed opportunities, damaged relationships, and internal stress that you are absorbing into your body. Don't be the person who waits until everything falls apart before deciding to invest in yourself. Check those programs out in the description. But right now, let's get into this. Let's go back to that moment. You're in a conversation and something is said. Maybe it's a tone, maybe it's a word, maybe it's what was not said. And your nervous system fires, your heart rate spikes. Your thoughts start racing or they go completely dark. And in that split second, you make a choice that most people make unconsciously. You either attack or you retreat. And neither one of those moves actually resolves anything. They just add more damage to an already cracking foundation. Think about what that costs you. Not just emotionally, think about it practically. How many hours have you spent mentally replaying arguments? How many nights have you laid awake rehearsing what you should have said? Research consistently shows that unresolved conflict at work alone reduces productivity by more than 50% for the people involved. And at home, the psychological weight of ongoing tension in close relationships is one of the leading contributors to anxiety, disrupted sleep, and even physical illness. This is not just emotional pain. This is costing you time, energy, health, and the kind of deep connection that makes life feel worth living. And here is the part that really matters. Nobody taught you how to do this differently. You grew up watching the adults around you handle conflict the same way they were taught, which was usually not taught at all, it was just modeled. And what was modeled for most of us was either aggression or avoidance. Either you raise your voice or you bury it, and then you wonder why your relationships feel exhausting. You wonder why you feel misunderstood. You wonder why you keep losing people you care about, or why you keep tolerating situations that drain you completely. You are not broken. You were just never given the map. So let's build it right now. The very first skill that changes everything is something called the pause. Not the awkward silence, not the cold shoulder, the intentional pause. The moment you feel your nervous system start to activate in a conflict, you have a window of about 90 seconds before your emotional brain completely hijacks your rational thinking. Studies in neuroscience have confirmed this. In that window, if you can simply slow your breath and resist the urge to respond immediately, you give yourself back your ability to think clearly. This one skill alone has saved more relationships than any other single technique. Not because it magically fixes things, but because it stops you from saying the thing that cannot be unsaid. The second skill is the one that separates people who are genuinely respected from people who are just loudly present in conversations. It is the ability to truly listen, not to respond, but to understand. Most of us in conflict are just waiting for our turn to talk. We are already building our defense before the other person even finishes their sentence. And the person talking can feel that. They can feel that they are not actually being heard. And when people don't feel heard, they don't soften. They escalate. But when you shift your entire focus to genuinely understanding the other person's experience, something almost miraculous happens. The temperature drops. The walls come down. People who felt like enemies 30 seconds ago start actually talking to each other. Pattern interrupt. Stop for a second. Think about one relationship in your life right now that has tension in it. One relationship where you feel like the same misunderstanding just keeps happening. What if that relationship could completely shift in the next 30 days just by applying what you're learning right now? That's not wishful thinking. That is what actually happens when people develop these skills intentionally. The third skill is learning to speak from your own experience instead of assigning blame. There is a massive difference between telling someone what they did wrong and telling someone how an experience made you feel. One of those approaches activates defensiveness instantly. The other creates an opening for real dialogue. When you describe your internal experience rather than cataloging the other person's failures, you become nearly impossible to argue with, because nobody can tell you that you didn't feel what you felt. And when you lead with your truth in that way, people are drawn towards you rather than pushed away from you. Here is where the transformation gets real. People who have developed strong conflict resolution skills report something fascinating. They don't just have better relationships, they move up faster in their careers, they negotiate better outcomes. They feel physically calmer because they are not carrying that constant underlying dread of potential confrontation. Their mental health improves dramatically, their sleep improves. And perhaps most powerfully, they start attracting higher quality people into their lives because they show up with a kind of grounded confidence that is genuinely magnetic. Think about what your life looks like 1 year from now if you actually build these skills. Not theoretically. Vividly picture it. The conversation you handled with calm instead of chaos. The relationship you repaired instead of lost. The opportunity you walked into instead of talked yourself out of. The version of you who no longer dreads difficult conversations because you know you have the tools to navigate them with grace. That version of you is not far away. That version of you is one committed decision away. The fourth skill that changes everything is knowing when to seek repair after a conflict. Most people think that conflict ends when the argument stops. It doesn't. The real resolution happens in the repair. The ability to come back after tension and say something genuine and vulnerable about what happened. Not to win, not to reopen the fight, but to rebuild the bridge. The people who do this consistently are the ones who have relationships that go deeper and last longer than almost anything else in life. And the fifth skill is the one almost nobody talks about. It is learning to separate the person from the problem. In the heat of conflict, we make people into villains and ourselves into victims, or the other way around. But almost every real conflict is not actually about good people versus bad people. It is about two people with different needs that haven't been communicated clearly yet. When you can see it that way, you stop fighting the person and start solving the actual problem together. That shift alone will make you one of the most effective communicators in any room you walk into. This is the kind of work that compounds. Every skill you build here multiplies across every area of your life, every relationship, every professional situation, every internal conversation you have with yourself. The return on this investment in yourself is not just emotional. It is measurable in time saved, energy recovered, opportunities unlocked, and damage prevented. The programs we have linked for you in the video description are designed for exactly this kind of transformation. Not surface-level tips. Real depth, real skill building, real change. If you've been watching and thinking this is exactly what I need, trust that instinct. The people who act on that instinct are the ones who look back 6 months from now and cannot believe how much their lives have shifted. Don't overthink it. Go check them out in the description right now. The version of you who knows how to navigate conflict with confidence, clarity, and genuine connection is waiting.